everyone, Abby here, Purple Cottage Crafts. Welcome back to another video here on my YouTube channel. This one's going to be all about creating some slow stitch fabric flips. Now, the first person that I ever saw or heard of that did fabric flips was Tracy Fox, and I of course will link all of her social media information in the description box below, so you can go check out her YouTube channel and her Facebook group and her Etsy shop. So credit to the fabric flip introduction into my life is from Tracy Fox. Like I said, she's the first person I saw that ever used one in a journal. I'd never even heard of one before until I watched one of her junk journal videos a while back. So Tracy, thank you so much for the inspiration for creating the different fabric flips in my projects with that have been abbied up, my kind of style. So I've already kind of started working on some different sets just to kind of get a little bit of a jump start. And the house is empty right now. Steve and Kaylee are out. They're out car shopping for Sissy. So I have a few hours to do some filming. So I wanted to jump on here and kind of get the intro done and to work on a couple of the flips while I was chatting with all of you. So let me show you the three that I have. Well, I have 3 sets of 3. I have no idea why I just started sets of 3. I just did. Anyway, so this is some fabric I purchased from Walmart. It's from Waverly, and it's the ones you can buy. I think it's like in a 2-yard lot, or you know, like it comes like bundled up like this. So this is the fabric I got from Wally Worlds the other day. I think it's really, really pretty. And so here's the first one, and I incorporated some, you know, the tiny text. This one happens to be from Tim Holtz, but I've got a couple different ones like Studio Calico. And so, you know, you have it in your journal. And in case, I guess I should back up, just in case you're new to junk journaling or had not heard of a fabric flip like I hadn't until that video, let me kind of just show you an example just real quick here. Sorry, I should have had this probably ready ahead of time. Let me just clip this open. So this is a signature I'm just using to you know, make sure I got the length and stuff right. So this is about the average size of the journals that I make. So a fabric flip is when you have something that's, you know, different layers of fabrics and textures. You can have papers. I have different types of papers in my fabric flips, and I can show you. I'll link a video below. It's my Vintage Emporium junk journal flip through, and I have like bits of glassine and deli paper and vintage book paper mixed in with it. So just has a lot of different elements into the fabric flips. You can make them as basic as you want or as embellished as you want. You just want to make sure, and this is a good reminder for Abby because I love to chunk things up, that the more layers that you add on them, on the top of them, you know, it is going to add the bulk to your book and your each signature that you have in your journal that you make, or your tome, or whatever it is you're going to put it in your traveler's notebook or whatever. So just be mindful of that part, which I've had to actually take some things down because some of the buttons were a little bit too bulky. So I exchanged it for something a little bit flatter. But anyway, so from my understanding is that, you know, what I've done is you have this piece of fabric and you just adhere it into your journal. It can be in the center, off to the side. You can put it on either side you want to, and you just, you know, stick it down, and then you flip it up, and then you have a place for journaling. You can put a photo, all that kind of fun stuff. And I love how you can see all of the stitching here on the back. And this is all going to be slow stitching, hand stitching. I'm not using my sewing machine for any of this. I'm really digging the whole slow stitching and just doing the whole hand stitching. I just love it. So this is just layered. This is actually some of Dad's string, as Marta likes to call it, from Mary's Small Art. I will link her channel and her Etsy shop below since I mentioned her, and that's what I kind of added on. I thought that was kind of fun. So just to kind of give you, that's one fabric flip. Now you don't have to, you can have it where, like this one I have it stuck down except for just this little bit here, and you'll see some other examples of where I don't have it stuck down at all. And then here's another one. So it's a combination of some actual vintage linens in here, some different types of thread, some vintage thread, some just the cotton floss. You can, you know, embroidery floss you can pick up at anywhere, any craft store. Like for example, this one, I don't have it down all the way. This would give the person a chance to tuck something here if they want to, just kind of whatever you like. This is pretty close to the width of the page. And again, you just, you know, flip it up, fabric flip. So you kind of want to have it where it's adhered to the top part, so you have more of a flip up than if you were to stick it here, you wouldn't have much of a flip up, if that makes any sense. And then the last one from this little trio, and just did some more stitching there, did some layers. This is from a lace coverlet, And then I have some coffee dyed paper underneath here. So this one I'm calling my double fabric flip because it'll go down in the journal like this, and then you can pick up this top one and you have a place to journal here, and I have a word quote there. It says, or word sticker, own your story. And then you can pick up this one, and then you have the fabric flip underneath here as well. So what I did is, this is the selvage edge of the fabric, and I typically, when I cut these off, I keep them so that you can use them, much like the branding strips off your paper. So what I did is I just followed the selvage edge holes, and I just used some embroidery thread and just ran it through. I thought that was kind of a fun little detail. So don't be afraid to use your selvage edge pieces too, because you can do this, or you can just leave the holes if you want to. I think either way it looks cool. It's visual texture, but I thought it'd be kind of fun to run some of that thread through there. So that's what I did. And then when you pick up the top flip, you can see more of that there. So, and that is that first trio. This next one, this is also fabric from Walmart, the same area. Let me grab it here so I can kind of show you. And it's really beautiful fabric. I love it. I think it's such a pretty print. And then same thing here with this one. This is just a little bit smaller one. I don't think there's like a set size or anything. You can make these, I feel, as small or as large as you want to. And this is the one I was telling you about. I have this really cool vintage button, but it was a little bit too thick, too bulky. So I just added this little flower on there, and it really decrease that bulk, plus the fact that this is pretty flat, so it'll close. It'll lay nicely in your book. So, and then here, and then underneath this one, I just have some layers of some other lace, just pops of it kind of peeking through, and I repeated up here. Also, this is the edging of this lace material that I have. Again, I use it. I don't throw it away. I like the raw edge, and I have it actually backwards on here because I like the way that this looks. So I just did some more stitching through here, and just some more layers of the different materials in there, and then a little bit of some lace, crocheted lace right there. And then this one is I'm calling this the side fabric flip. I don't think the fabric flips have to be just this way. I think you can make in whatever direction you want to. I hadn't seen a side one, but it doesn't mean that's not been done before. So I just want to make sure that's my disclaimer on that. And so this one, you would just adhere it down on the side, and then you could flip it up like this, and then you still have the same space to do with whatever you'd like. And you can see there I just kind of did some stitching down the side, and then just layered again the materials, and then on the back side. And typically I don't cover this up because when I make these, they're going into a project. But since I'm going to be selling all of the fabric flips you're going to see me making, plus the ones I'm showing you right now, I wanted to kind of make it just a little bit pretty, since there were just a lot of different knots that I did right here. Because I was trying to use up some of my smaller ends of thread, so I had a few more knots than I typically do. But it's nice and flat, as you can tell, and it gives you a nice space to put some glue or however you choose to adhere yours in. And I'll talk about the glues here too, what I use, in a moment. And this one here, and I love the fact that this is kind of like a little, slopey edge there, and you can distress it as much as you like. I love how this looks, tearing the fabric. Here's a button. This one isn't too thick or bulky, so I put that one on there, and I thought this was just a really, really pretty one. And then I took some of this jute that I had, and I just took some different colored embroidery floss that coordinates, because this blue is what you're seeing into the deeper part of the butterfly. So it's kind of a fun way to incorporate the different colors and tones. And just did some more layering. I mean, just look how beautiful that is with all that hand stitching. It's just gorgeous. If you have the time and you're physically able to do it with your hands, and you like doing it, I would recommend you do it. I would suggest you do it. It's just very therapeutic. I just love it so much. So there's that one. And again, flip it up. Oh, focus, sorry. Here we go. So there's this one. And then the last of the samples, these were the first batch I made. This is actually some upholstery fabric that I was able to get for a really great deal while I was still living in Florida. I have a video on that. If I remember, I'll try to link it below in case you're interested in seeing all the fabric. I got it off of a Facebook marketplace. The lady has an upholstery business and she was getting out of it. So, don't be afraid to go to like your fabric stores, check on Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, estate sales, yard sales, all that kind of stuff. And you can use upholstery fabric as well as the other fabrics and vintage linens that we collect. I mean, I even have some outdoor patio upholstery material that I'm using in some projects. So these are a different tone. So this is not vintage fabric. This is, you know, new fabric, but there are some vintage elements that I did add in there. So here's another little word phrase, and I just like all the layering and the visual texture, just all the laces. It's just so pretty and so fun. And then what I did here, these aren't French knots traditional. They're just, you know, I just gave some raised texture to the center of the flower. Again, you know, just, I am a very tactile person. I like how it feels when you rub on it, and I think it's really pretty as well. Kind of just adds another element, I think, to it. So again, this is a smaller fabric flip. You can make these, I feel, as any size that you want to, and you just put it here and you can just flip it up. I mean, you know, you could have you could journal, you know, just this way, or you could flip your journal and then you could write this direction, because when I do my journaling, I do it all directions, also for art journaling. And then you could flip this up here, and you could either just continue to write back and forth, or you could put something secret under here, a photo, whatever you would like to do. So that's another option. And here's this one. This is probably about the thickest button I would do, because I know myself and I know how I like to chunk up the pages. So if I was to use this in a journal, I would be very mindful of maybe just having just this one alone in its separate signature. That way I didn't have the journal to where it's so bulky you can't even open it properly to journal in or whatever. So it's always a constant reminder for me, because I like to chunk things up. It's a combination of some different laces and trims. And again, more of that same upholstery fabric, of course. And then this is not an old button, and there's some of that jute twine. Here's some larger jute up here. Again, you know, I love the fact that you can tear this and cut it and have, you know, this kind of like a little A-line type of a vibe going on. It doesn't have to be straight across. So I think you can get really creative with the size, the width, and the, you know, the shape of your fabric flips. This one I think is very fun. This is my first one to do where I have, kind of hard to see. Let me find it against another. This isn't probably the best example. This is a little bit darker. Let's see if this works better. So you can see the lace right there. So what happened is it's kind of by mistake. I was cutting this with my thing, and I was like, oh, I cut off more than I meant to. So, and I was like, oh, I didn't want it to be quite that short for this particular one. And so I was like, what if I just, you know, made something in between here to kind of, you know, because I've done this with paper, kind of like, you know, Nick's Franken paper. But way back in my scrapbooking days, I would cut paper down, and all of us would do that, so we could have different sections of pattern paper that were going to be covered by a photo. We didn't want it to get wasted, so we would just cut little bits. Hope that makes sense. Anyway, and so that's kind of what I did here, and you can see on the back side, and I try to make it look pretty again, since, you know, you're going to be flipping this up. And that's just a piece of lace material, and I just cut it to the right width. And I was trying to be mindful of the pattern. I liked how you could see the vine and like the leaf and the flowers right there. So I wanted this part to show, so I cut it down to where it fit. And then I just glued it together with some fabric glue and tacked it down. So I think that's a really cool look, because especially if you have some journaling underneath here, or maybe a peek of a picture, or maybe some, maybe this is gonna go in like a notebook for like if you're doing fabric dyeing or things like that. You can kind of see your samples and stuff back there. So, and then I just kind of roughly cut out one of the flower shapes, layered it. Again, there's some more of that knotting right there that I did. And then just some more of the kind of smaller seed stitching detail. So I think it's kind of fun. And then you can just, you know, grab this and flip it up. And I think it's kind of a fun little look. So I kind of gathered together some different fabrics and stuff. Of course, not all of them, because that would just be crazy, because all my stuff is still, well, most of my stuff is still packed, but I have some things I was able to pull out. So just to kind of give you an example, I already talked about the fabrics you can get from like Walmart, any of your other craft stores. I have a combination of things from thrifting. I go through the clothing sections and I purchase items that I want to cut apart and use in my different crafting projects. This here's actually, you know, when you purchase bedding, like I got Kaylee a new bedding set from Target, and when you buy the bedding with the sheet and the top sheet and the pillowcases, it comes in like a little cloth bag. Well, I kept that cloth bag and I cut it down, and I'm using it in my project. So when you have things like that, keep that kind of stuff, because you can use it. I have some actual vintage items in here. This is a little baby dress that I've been kind of taking little snips off of. This is some newer lace from, I think, Hobby Lobby. This is that gauzy material I was telling you about that a friend gave me. Let's see here. Just all kinds of fun different things. This is some more vintage trim over here. This is, I have a ton of these, so I didn't feel too bad cutting this one up, but like a from a vintage, it was a lady had like a stack of these that she had on her tables and stuff in her home. Cut those kind of things apart. Different kinds of laces. I have different colors of muslins in here. And this is some gray fabric I bought from Walmart as well. I need to iron it though first. This is a table runner that I got last year from Target during Easter in the Target dollar spot section. So I just cut it down and I use it. So this is like some thicker burlap. So that's another great resource for material. This I got, I think in the remnant section at one of the craft stores. I love this kind of thicker muslin material. And then over here, these are some newer fabrics. This is all part of that bag I was telling you about, but these came in a slow stitch fabric kit that I got from Fatima with Magnolia Seed. I'll link her below since I'm mentioning her. So these are some items that I had left over from that junk journal I was telling you about right here. And then here's a little scrap of the fabric that I had, the upholstery fabric. I mean, I have a lot more than this, but this is just a little section that I brought in the house. So all kinds of things. You can use just strictly vintage. You can use a combination like I'm doing. Oh, here's that. It was like $2.97, I think, for these two yards of this gray material here. So, and then of course I have, just from the last couple of projects, I have a little bit of some snippet stuff going on in here. So I've been kind of keeping my scraps in there. And I'm just using different colors of embroidery floss and different things like I had mentioned, you know, different types of jute twine. This is some of that dad string from Marta. You can use hemp cording, you know, lace, all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of get myself a little bit more situated. I'll come back on. I'm going to get some needles and stuff threaded, so you don't have to watch me do that. And I'm going to kind of pull through and maybe do like another trio with all of you, and then kind of walk you through my design process, how I kind of add things, take away things, just to kind of do that. And we'll just kind of have a little bit of chitty chat as I'm working on that. So I'm going to get myself set up. I'll come back on and we're going to get going on some slow stitched fabric flips. I'll see you in just a moment. Okay, I thought I would come on here just real quick before we get started and kind of share with you some of the basic tools I'm using, just in case you're curious as to what you can use in your fabric flips. So I just have some fabric scissors, and these are just some little scissors I'm using when I snip off my embroidery. You can use regular scissors if you want to. I just happen to have those. I have a bone folder. I also have my orange Fisker scissors out as well. I use kind of both, just, you know, whatever. And then as far as some of the adhesives, this is some Aleene's Fabric Fusion. I wanted to give this a whirl. I hadn't used it before, and this stuff works great. The only thing is that the tip is not tiny. So what I need to do is I need to order another set of these tiny bottles. Like I have art glitter glue in here, so it's got like a really fine tip. I also have some of the Aleene's tacky glue in here too, because the tip is really nice and small. So I will try to remember to link all of these supplies below in case you're interested in purchasing them for yourself. But this stuff works great. But when I'm trying to do tiny detail, because you know, I cut it off the very tiny tip, it's not like it's huge gaping hole, but you can see the hole there. It's not super fine, but this stuff works really, really well, and it dries clear from what I've been able to see. So there's that. I don't remember where I got that. I think Walmart maybe. And then I mentioned the art glitter glue. This stuff is amazing. I've had this bottle right here. I'm not kidding you. You can see the label is like all old and stuff. I've probably had this bottle for close to 10 years, and it flows in here just great. But I wanted to get a refill, and it came with a good deal. So, and this one comes, and I'll link the set that I got, which came with this and these two here, the metal tip and the pin. And it works out great. It's a stainless steel tip on there, but this stuff is great. I've been using this stuff forever, way back in my scrapbooking days. So that works great for the fabric. I also want to try out this no-sew fabric glue. Just grabbed a small little bottle at the craft store. And then tweezers, because you'll probably see me use my, I like to peel the backing off of when I use the tiny text. It does have adhesive, but I still put score tape on because I want to make sure it sticks really well to the fabric. Sometimes I will still use a little bit of the tacky glue or glitter glue to kind of stick it if it's got a lot of texture, like some bumpy lace or something like that. And then I use this for just grabbing different parts of the fabric up and just whatever, just, you know, that kind of thing. Just a variety of different needles. and stuff. And then to tack down some of the different layers when I want it to stay where it is while I'm doing all the hand sewing, I'll just use a little bit of this glue stick. This is my all-time favorite. This is one I've also been using for probably close to 15 years. I love this glue stick. It's fantastic. And then just some pins, because sometimes I'll have a little bit of, quite a few layers, and I want to kind of pin everything together as I'm working on another part of the fabric flip. And I think that's pretty much the basics as far as like tools aside from fabrics, threads and that kind of stuff. But these are kind of the basic things I've been using. Of course, you don't have to use these specifically. Use what you have in your stash. That's exactly what I did. I didn't go buy anything for this particular project, with the exception of the refill, because I was getting low on this bottle here. But these are just a combination of things I already had. And I'm sure there's probably even better adhesives to use that I don't know about yet, or maybe some different tools that you might use or find. And you can, of course, share that with me in the comment section below. So, all right, let's go ahead and get to slow stitching some fabric flips. I'll see you in just a second. Okay, so I'm editing a video, so I'm hoping that the program isn't too loud in the background. I apologize if you can hear that. So this was one I was working on last night. Just real quick, and I'm sorry if you've heard this for the 1000th time, just because I have a lot of new subscribers. Welcome. And I'm set up temporarily in our living room as my craft rooms are being remodeled. We're getting close, we're getting close. I know I keep saying that, but you know, life things happen, and we're still, you know, we're remodeling the house and that kind of stuff at the same time. So I have to kind of film when the family's not in the main part of the house. So last night as we were watching some TV, I was kind of working on some just to kind of get a little bit more inventory built up. So what I have here is just some, you know, leftover muslin fabric from a different project. And also, I forgot to mention this earlier, what I've been doing is I will cut a little notch in the fabric, and then I've been tearing it. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. I didn't do it on the upholstery fabric, but I really like how that looks. But if you don't like that, or you're worried about it fraying too much, you don't have to tear. But that's what I've been trying to do for most of the pieces of fabric that I have. So this here is just tacked, as I mentioned in the last clip, where I just use a little bit of glue stick just to tack it. So this isn't even put together yet. I'm going to stitch that here in a moment, but I wanted to work on the top piece first. So this is part of a kind of like a lacy cover up, like to wear like over a tank top or something. And I just cut a panel of that material off. I liked how this looked. And again, I left the edge on here because I love that additional bit of texture on this. So let me show you the thing I'm talking about. So it's been cut down, but you can see like the neckline right here. So this was like a cover, like a little netty type of thing. So this was all along the edge of the entire garment, and then I just cut it. So this, I purposely left this raw edge from the inside on. I like how that looks. Again, you can trim your materials down to whatever you know, length or whatever that you would like. So this is a piece of just a little bit of fabric. They don't have to all be matchy-matchy, but I think it's cohesive and it looks good together. So this is kind of the basic composition there that I'm going to have for this. Okay, and I've already did stitching up here on the top. That's already done. And I'll come through, of course, and do more stitching because, like I said, this stuff isn't connected except for a little bit of glue underneath there. So down here, you don't have to create a little bit to flip it up. You can just grab the fabric itself. But I thought it'd be kind of cute just add another little bit and just use up some more of my little tiny bits of fabric. Just, you know, just stitch them together, real basic, and then just tie it on the back. And there we have that. And so this is the thread I'm using now. I got this from Goodwill, so I don't know the brand or the size or anything like that, but I really like it. So I did that. And then I just kind of pinned this here because I want to, instead of trimming this off, I want to have that layer like that. So I just pinned it until I got my needle threaded up again. And I'm going to go ahead and stitch that on there. So if you haven't been following me for a while or don't really know about my design style and all that, I love lots of layers and textures, dimension, and I completely get lost in the details. I think that's a pro and I think it's a con. Because it probably slows me up quite a bit when I'm working on projects and stuff. Let me zoom in so you can see me stitching here. Now, please don't critique how I hold the needle or if I'm using the wrong kind of needle. I am not a seamstress. I'm just using what's comfortable for me. I will tell you this though, this is kind of off topic, but when I write, this has nothing to do with this video, but when I write, the way I've always held my pen, and when I was in grade school, You can fast this part if you're not interested in this. You know, they put those little triangle wedges on your pens and your pencils. I always took them off and the teacher walked away. This is how I hold a pen and a pencil. This is how I've done it my entire life. This is comfortable for me. I don't even know how to hold it the right way. And I don't think there's a right way. I can read and I can write, and people can read my handwriting. But this is how I hold, you know, my pen and stuff whenever I'm writing. And so I think that I know I hold some of the needles and different tools and stuff a little bit differently than typical people, than most, or than I guess normal or whatever. And I think it's because the way that I hold a pen, pencil in my hand. So if you see me holding it weird or using the wrong one or anything like that, that's okay, because, you know, that's just how it's comfortable for me. So that's just what I'm doing. So just wanted to mention that. Not that anybody was probably going to say anything, but I get a little self-conscious because I'm not a seamstress. I don't try to pretend that I know how to sew and make things or anything like that. I'm just having fun. just creating some different textures. I think it looks really cool to kind of add that little bit of extra detail. So as far as a pro, I mean, I don't think it's a bad thing to kind of get lost in the details and to add lots of different layers and elements and textures and stuff. But, you know, again, some people don't like that, and that's completely fine. That's what's so awesome about our world of creativity, is that we all have our own perceptions and our own takes on how we want to design and create things. And I think that's just awesome, because we can all learn from each other. I know I learn from people all the time, even though I've been crafting for quite a long time, pretty much my whole life. But as far as like with when I got it, you know, I first started like crafting where I did it consistently as an adult was when I was pregnant with my son, and he'll be 24 actually in September. So, and I got back into scrapbooking and stuff again. So to scrapbook, you know, memories from him and everything. So, but I'm learning all the time. I learn every single day. I mean, the reason I'm even doing this project is because I learned about fabric flips from Tracy. I had never even heard of them before, and I think it's just awesome that she, you know, shared that in one of her videos. So, because it's allowing me to be able to create some for my own projects. So, and just going to do one more and then we'll be done with this part. I don't know how interesting this part is, but I guess I will include it. I like watching this kind of stuff, but you know, maybe some people don't, and that's okay too. So this is what it looks like. Just a little detail, you know, and it might be more work than or effort than somebody wants to put in. And again, that's completely fine. We're all different, but this is just me. And that's why I like to do all these little things like this, because I feel like it's not me if I don't do all my little extra details and stuff. So, and that's where, again, the con can be, because I get, you know, lost in the details, and I probably don't finish some things as quick as I probably could or should, because I have to keep adding layers and extra details and stuff. So, you know, but I guess if that's the worst thing about my crafting or whatever, then I think I'm doing pretty good. So, all right, so there's that one. So now what we'll do, take a look here, let me zoom out just a little bit so we can see the whole piece. Sorry, it's bouncing a little bit. All right, now I wanted to add this. I think this is kind of cool. So you could, if you didn't want to do the extra stitching, you could just use the different adhesives and you could just glue this down however you wanted to, tape it down, whatever. Same thing up here. You could do the same thing with this here. And I probably will, I've been kind of doing a combination of both, because I like to go in and add some extra detail. So for the flowers right here, in the three here in the center, I am gonna grab, I think this color would go good. I have, let me grab my other, this is what I had in my travel thing when we went to visit family a couple months ago. I just hadn't unpacked it yet, but this is just a small assortment of some of the embroidery floss and different threads that I had that I brought with me. So I might try to find a little bit better pink. I think I see one actually right here. And so this is again where Abby and the details. Do I have to do this part? No, but I want to. Yeah, I like that pink better. So I'm going to go through and I'm just going to do some stitches through the center of these flowers. I think it'll be pretty. I might even do something maybe down here on these bottom three, maybe on the top three. I don't know, we'll kind of see. So I'll probably put that part on process if I end up doing that, because I always worry about my videos being really boring with me just stitching like this. I worry about that a lot. I stress about it. What I'm probably going to do is go ahead and come back with this lighter pink and do some stitching in the center of these three flowers here. Probably a little bit of detail down here, and then on the top ones up here as well, just to give it that Abby look that I like when I'm working on different projects and whatnot. So I'm going to go ahead and cut some of this down. So just kind of doing some lines through here. Sorry, I'm trying to make sure I'm still in frame as I'm doing this. And just kind of give you an idea of what is this going to look like once I get done. So this is what I'm doing, just kind of going through. I'm going to have that line detail of the pink through each of these little petals right there. So I'm going to go ahead and get that part done, and then I'll come back and I'll probably maybe even do it on a process of me just doing some stitching like so let's work on creating some more little fabric flips. So you can create these, like I said before, or I think I said it before, in any size that you want to. And you can make them, you know, as layered as you want. So let's use a piece of this. So let me grab my pinking shears, since this is already kind of cut like that, and we'll finish cutting this off. Hope I'm doing this straight, because I'm doing it kind of at an angle. And then we'll do that. So that's kind of how I like dictate the size. I just kind of grab the material, and this is like a really, this is upholstery as well. I love that kind of linen going through there. So we'll do that, kind of build up the base. Now what kind of a color, or what color do I want to use? Maybe this pink. I'll pull this out and kind of look at it. We'll see I like how that looks. Hopefully you can see okay. Now gray goes nice, these three. Maybe I'll use a little snippet of the gray, so I'll put that out. And kind of want to add like a lacy element. Maybe a piece of this would look nice. We'll try that. And let's look in. So kind of those three. Hope it looks okay on that mat. I just was afraid it would blend in with the tablecloth or pillowcase that I have on the table. So what if we did a little bit. Let's look at one of this out of the snippet here, just to add a little bit more texture. Maybe like a piece of this script somewhere would look nice. So let's put those back. Let me cut a piece of this off, or rip a piece, I should say. Maybe that. Let's look at one of the prints. Maybe that would look good too. Or instead of the, see, that looks good with the gray, so I like that.
I could stay like this, forever following you. Just don't get too far, and I'll be right where you are. You're a dream that I could finally see. I just want us to always be, to always be.
Close to the same, so we won't use that. I do have some nice deeper purple down here, but I think I like, these are some items that I pulled out when I went to the Nellie Wortman class. Yeah, it's a little bit too deep for this, I think, so we'll put you back in here. Back in my little hoard vault down there. But I do like, I like that. So let's pull this out. And I'm going to pull just one corner down so we can kind of get a visual. So I'm always looking at this to see what I want to add or pull away or whatever. This is really pretty too. Maybe like a little bit of this on here somehow. Like over the top. Isn't that pretty? I don't know. We'll see. It might be a bit much. And then I probably don't like need another color, but I feel like I need another texture as far as so let's go ahead and put this back over here, and we'll grab this one, see if I can find a little bit thicker fabric, like just a little piece. Like, what am I looking for specifically? What is it that I'm looking for? What is it, Abby, that you're looking for to kind of go with this one? It's funny because as I'm looking through here, I'm thinking of the different fabrics that I have in my totes and stuff, and you know, I can't really go out and go dig and get all that out because that'd be a huge mess. Let's see what I can find in this bin here. I think that might be it, what I'm trying to get from my brain onto the fabric. So I think these three, this could be the base. Sorry, my tummy's growling. Yeah, let's do that. So let me cut these pieces down, and then I'll kind of, we can assemble that one together. But let me go ahead and start another one first. We'll do one more, at least for now. Just try not to make this video massively long. So let's do a fun burlappy one with this material. Let me grab this needle out of here. It's wanting to catch onto everything. So let's do where we can do another side flip. Actually, let's do a side flip that goes this direction this time. Okay, so let me grab my journal page. I want to make my tomes are a little bit bigger. These are like a little bit smaller size, but you can kind of get an idea. But see, this is kind of thick, so I don't want to have this part because that's 2 layers of that lace, but this piece right here will be totally fine. So I'll cut down, of course. I'll cut that end piece off, so I'll pull down so I don't account for that when I go to cut this down. And you can measure if you want to. I don't. I just kind of eyeball it. Let's pretend it's open here. Well, not pretend, let's just open it, Abby. How about that? So inside the journal page, okay, and you have it and you flip it this way. I think that's a good width right there. Yeah, I like how that looks. Okay, and I will fray around the edges and everything here once we figure out the other components that we want to go with this one. Okay, the book go up there. All right, now, so do I want to play with the printed fabric that I already have in here? I've already used it, but that's fine. It doesn't mean, you know, I can't again. I really like this butterfly one. I think this just looks really good together. And so let's do this. I want to have this part on there, this panel. Or maybe I like this part too. Maybe this part. Let's do that. Since it's going this way though, I kind of want a little bit more of the picture. So I like that butterfly. So I'm going to kind of pull it up here above the edge. This is what I do with paper too. So I just kind of play with it, and we'll just cut that there. Go ahead and rip this piece off, and then we'll figure out the other part here once I get to the top, because I want to give myself a little bit of room to cut down here. So we'll do that. So that'll be at the bottom, and then we'll cut right here like that. Okay. All right, now I need to, oops, I forgot to do the measurement for this side. We'll do it to right about there. Okay. Tear that away, then this away, and this away. Okay, see how that looks. Ooh, that's so pretty. And you know, this one I'm not going to add a bunch of different layers and elements because I really think the lace edging on the side is a nice detail and gives you the visual texture as well as actually touching it, because it's got that nice thick you know, crocheted edging on there, lace edging, and then you've got all kinds of detailed visual popping of the colors in the print as well as the script in the background. So I don't really want to chunk up this one as much as I have some of the others just because of that. So, but I do want to have a little strip of something, like maybe not even a full strip, just like a little, because I don't want to cover up too much. So I like the gray. Let's see, or we could even use a small piece of this, which I think I might have in here. I'm trying to be careful with that because when I set my stuff on the table like that, sometimes Bella thinks somebody's here and then she starts barking. What if I just use like a little piece of that? Let's do that. So let's cut. And again, this is going to be longer than I want. I just want to give myself some room to fray the edges because I can always take away. So yeah, let's do a little bit narrower piece. And then I'll fray this and we'll see how this looks. Like that. Okay, so let's do that real quick. So you can make these as detailed as you want. You know, I have made other fabric flips that it took me like just maybe a couple minutes to do because I just made them pretty basic because of you know, kind of it's based upon, for me anyway, how busy the page is or whatever the substrate is that I'm putting the fabric flip on. So I do make quick decisions sometimes too. So I like how that looks, and it kind of hanging over the edge. And this is a great place to put another sticker, like one of the these are just the ones I have out right now, just these different free stickers. And then pick out a quote and put it across the top there, or a saying. So I could use a piece of the gray, that would work, or I could even use a piece of this other fabric if I wanted to, because I think the colors play nicely together. So that could even be an option, and then put the word across right there. Matter of fact, I like that. Let's just do that. I go between my fabric scissors and my other scissors. I'm just doing little things like this. Now I do want to have, this might be too narrow for me to rip this a little bit, yeah, but that's okay. Ooh, I like how that looks. You see that? I'm probably not even zoomed in enough, sorry, how it's like that. I love that, I love it, love it, love it. Let's see if we can do it on this end. And then I'll just fray the center if I'm not able to pull this down all the way. Okay, oh, perfect, I love that. We'll tear that piece off. All right, now let me zoom in a little bit. Sorry, I should have got a little closer. And then have this bit here. This might be a little bit long, so let's take this little piece off on this side because I'm not too committed to that little bit. I like this piece here. I like how that tore like that. See that right there? I like that. So we'll put this here. And then I can put a word sticker right there, and then we have a flip. It's just that easy. So you don't even have to stitch if you don't want to. You can just use your fabric glues to tack this down all the way. You can use score tape. I've done that before too. Depends on the different materials that I'm using. And you could come in and do some additional line stitching with a coordinating type of floss if you wanted to. You could add some flat back pearls on here, like the little gemstones, as long as they're not too dimensional. Stickles, you could use Nuvo drops, all kinds of things that I wish I could get to so I could do it, but I can't. Oh, I'm so excited to get my stuff unpacked. But I like that. So you can definitely mix different fabric prints and different types of materials, meaning like whether it be just like, you know, a cotton fabric or using some burlap like this with some thicker crocheted lace, adding in a phrase sticker, which I won't make you sit here and watch me pick one out to go with this one. And to do that, but just kind of a fun thing. So I think what I'll probably do with this one is just do some simple stitching around the edge, and then do a little bit of seed stitching up here in the corner, and then put my word sticker on there. So I think that's what I'm going to do for this one. All right, so this clip is already at 30 minutes. Holy cow. So I'm going to do the stitching off camera because it's not very exciting. I'll cut down the fabric on this purple one I want to work on, and then I'll get this one, the purple one, and then the one I buried over here. Get these stitched together, and I'll come back on and we'll look at all of these together and kind of show you some different samples. And I have some other samples I've done that I didn't show on film because of the fact that I'm so worried about this being so long and you guys get bored. So I will come back when I get these all stitched together, because I really think it's more about the composition and kind of pulling together. Even though this is going to be titled slow stitch, you've seen me do that. I'm just hand stitching, just methodical like that. That's all I'm doing, so nothing fancy. So I will see you when I get these lovely little slow stitch fabric flips put together. So I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so I have quite the basket full of slow stitch fabric flips. I like how that sounds. So Steve is on his way back to town, and he is coming to pick me up because we have to go pick up a chair that I found thrifting that's going to go in my craft room. I will put a picture and inserted it up here, but I'm also going to share a picture of my Instagram, which will go up before this video does. So if you're not following me on Instagram, I love it if you would. It's just Purple Cottage Crafts. My link is always below, and that way you can kind of see some different sneak peeks and things like that. So what I'm working on now real quick is this is going to be another one of my side fabric flips. So this one's going to be kind of designed to go onto the right side of the page, since I've already done a left-sided one. Not that it probably matters. I mean, you can, you know, whoever winds up with this, they can put this whichever way they want to, of course. For me, if I was going to use it, I would put it on this side just because of the way that I layer the fabrics, but it's totally up to, you know, the crafter. So anyway, so we'll go on the side like this. Actually, it will be designed to go on the right because of the way I'm going to put the backing on the side. So it'll go like this, and then it'll flip up like that. Or did I do the other one as the left side? I don't remember now. It's been a little bit since I made that one. Let me dig for it here real quick. And then I'll show you a few other ones that I have made while the family was watching TV. And then I have a couple that I'm going to do with all of you, like real time. And then that will probably complete this video because I feel like it's like super long. Okay, I can't find it exactly, so I'll mess with it later. I think this is my other side flip. It is. This is it right here. So this one is designed to go onto the left side just because of this, and then you flip it over this way. Now the person who winds up with this, if they want to, they absolutely can put it on this side and flip it up that way. It's whatever way, you know, you want it to go. So I didn't realize it was kind of the same fabric or the same fabric actually. So this one is another side one, And just to show you that you don't have to do like the full page or close to the full page. You can do side ones, you can do smaller ones. I think you can anyway. I don't think there's any rules to the fabric flips, but I thought that'd be kind of cute to do this. So what I have been doing with this one is just some simple stitching. I haven't attached that part yet. This is just some white cotton material, and then I added some of that kind of like gauzy type stuff that I got from a former coworker who's a friend. And then I just did a little stitching up there at the top because I wanted to kind of show my lamp. Sorry, let me move this out of the way. Ooh, it's a gooseneck one. I kept bumping it. I wanted to show that you could make some that are very simple because not everybody likes lots of layers and textures and chunks. And that's totally fine. And that we could do something that's a little bit more simple, a little more, you know, I don't want to use the word basic, just simple, I guess is the best word. And then I just folded over this piece of fabric and just did some stitching right there. And then this is room to put a word sticker or stamp on there. So I won't put anything in there so the recipient can do whatever they would like to with this. Unless I find a really cute stamp that might go there, we'll see. And then I will, of course, stitch this down. This was on the fold, so I'm gonna give this a quick press before I do so it stays down better. But then I'll just kind of, you know, stitch this a little bit, but I'll probably just use a little bit of adhesive to kind of put this down together. So you can make some that are absolutely adorable that I think are, you know, a little bit more simple. Against, let's see here, what's another one that I have that's got a lot of stuff going on? Well, let's grab this one. Like this one here has lots going on with the different fabrics, the lace, and then we have some of this string right here. I've got a word sticker, a couple different colors of thread, and just, you know, it's not that it's busy, but it just has more layers and more textures on it versus something like this that just has a few bits of fabric and it's a little more simple. So you can do it either way, I feel, because I know there's a lot of crafters out there who are, when I was still doing cards hardcore and I was on some card design teams, oh my goodness, probably 7+ years ago, we would sometimes have challenges where they called them case, and in case you aren't familiar with that term, it's just a clean and simple card is what the acronym stood for. And I am the complete opposite of clean and simple in the context that I like lots of layers and textures and stuff. So it was always been a challenge for me to just do something, and this might even seem too busy for somebody who likes to do just the clean and simple look, and that's fine. I think I've already shown you these. Let me grab the ones I just kind of finished up, and then we'll do a final flip through of the fabric flips at the end of the video. So here's one I did. This is a really kind of prissy, you know, kind of fluffy one, and I like it. I think it's really cute. This is just some trim that I got from Hobby Lobby in the remnant section. Added a little bit of that same butterfly fabric. Just did some basic stitching. This is the top of that material of this lace trim, and then I left it up high because I like how that looks. Just put on a fairly thin button and then a little bit of lace from a different piece of clothing that I thrifted, and this has been my measure to make sure. And when I'm putting the buttons on, I am kind of sticking it inside to make sure it's not too thick. Now there was a button I really wanted to add to this one, but I knew it was just too, here it is, it would be too bulky, and I think it was this flip. Yeah, I think it was for this one. And I thought, oh, it's like, it'd be so, let me hold, if I can hold it up there. They're not go just like perfectly, but this button is just a little bit too thick. So, and I didn't want to make the journal, you know, for this to be too big. But I think that is so cute. This would be so sweet for like a little baby journal or even like party decor or something like that. But here is a little frilly fabric flip right there. So there's that one. I think this is the one I kind of pieced out with all of you in a few clips ago with all the different layers, and it looked like a lot when I was going through it, but after I stitched everything down, it's pretty flat. It's not too bulky or anything like that. And here we go. So I just added a little word sticker down there. I wanted to share that one in case I didn't do a follow-up on that. I did some purple ones. So the ones I want to do with you for like the final couple flips. That sounds funny. Final flips. I'll pull those out and show them to you. And then, like I said, we'll do a final flip through of all the flips at the very end. Okay. So, oh, sorry, I have my phone up because I'm waiting for him to call me when he's getting close to the house. So I wanted to do some really pretty, just real feminine kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? I guess maybe simple again, I'm not sure. Just kind of real just, I don't know, it's kind of like a simple and just very dainty, very feminine looking flips by just using lace as the actual flip part. So that's what I did here. I'll hold this up so you can see a little bit better. And then I just did a bunch of seed stitching right here. I think I might have filmed myself doing some of the stitching, I can't remember, as a process, but I just, look at the detail and the texture just that little seed stitching makes. And this is stuff I was doing while I was watching TV with the family, so, you know, really easy. So what I did is I attached the different fabrics as you see, and I just stitched it to the back. I didn't stitch all of the layers to the lace. I did, well, you'll see when I show you on these ones right here. But this way it gives a nice surface for you, a solid surface to put your adhesive down to put this into your junk journal or wherever you'd like to use this one. So there's that lacy one. And then so I cut another length of that here, fold it up, and as well as the second flip I'm going to show you. So I'll do these two sheer ones. We'll do that one, those two together. And then this is the other lace that's attached. This is just so pretty. This is from Hobby Lobby, I think. I can't remember where I got this, to be honest, actually. This I got thrifting, so I cut it apart. And then this one is just so beautiful and so sheer. This looks bridal-y, baby showery like to me, very like tea party type of a vibe. I think it's just very pretty. And it's just a really pretty lace flip. And you're gonna be able to see your writing or a photo, whatever it is you wanna put underneath there. And then, so again, just did lots of seed stitching, kind of like right in here, this little tiny section of it. And then just added some different layers and textures. And I put on the back just a piece of muslin. That way it gave it a nice solid surface to put your adhesive on to adhere this to the back side or to the journal. So the lace piece for these two here are what I have already prepped as far as like this appropriate size for the page, and then we'll do those two together, and then we're going to be done. And then I will do a flip through of all of the ones that I completed off camera. So I think I did a couple process portions on some of those, but I'm not sure exactly. So yeah, I'm really excited about it. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish getting this one put together really quickly, and it's probably gonna be tomorrow before I can get back to this because we are gonna be doing some family fun stuff tonight. It is Friday, so we'll probably get, you know, pizza and watch some movies or something like that. And so I'll finish these up tomorrow morning while I have time to film down here and it's better daylight. But I just wanted to kind of check in and touch base and let you know where I'm at with the fabric flip. So I will see you on the flip side. See what I did there? I'm such an idiot. I'll see you in the next clip. Bye. Okay, so I'm working on my slow stitch fabric flip tutorial video in like little chunks, different, you know, sometimes it's a couple days apart, so I'm not really sure exactly what I filmed. When I come back to edit the video, if I'm repeating myself, I will, you know, clip that part out because nobody wants to hear Abby repeat herself multiple times, right? So these are what I have done so far. I have to film in between the family being downstairs, so that's why I'm kind of not sure where I left off last time. So I'm working on some different ones right now, and I will be saving some to do as I'm chatting with all of you. And I've been doing taking little process portion clips of me putting different components together, so there's a little bit of some process portion as well. But I didn't start out to make them in sets of 3 as far as the same fabric. That's kind of what's evolved. So I have these 3 here, and I'll go into more detail once I'm kind of doing the final, you know, video. But there are those 3, and then with this beautiful butterfly fabric that I got from Walmart, from Waverly. I probably should have ironed the fabric first, but that's okay. So I have these 3 here, and, you know, fabric flip up, so just different sizes. This one is actually going to be a side flip. Let me grab my signature here that I have. Okay, let's open it to this page as for example. We'll do it on this page. This will work. Okay, so instead of it being, you know, the standard, I guess you could say, fabric flip where it flips up, you know, who's to say it can't flip from the side, right? So here is a side fabric flip. So you can have it on the side like this, and you flip it up, and then you can have a place to journal, put photos, whatever you'd like. And I thought that'd be kind of fun to do a side fabric flip, so I made that one. I'm sure I'll make more of this that style because it's kind of fun to have that longer length. And then what I'm working on right now, and I gotta hurry because I can hear Steve coming down the stairs, is I'm working with this other beautiful fabric I got from Walmart. So this one's done. And I incorporated some, this is some of some string from Marta with Marry Me Smaller. It's what she calls her dad's string. And then I'm just working on this one right here. So I'm just still putting together, still stitching some stuff together. So I just wanted to kind of check in real quick and let you know where I'm at, and that I will be working on this in between some other projects, but I promise I will get this video done as soon as I can so I can share my slow stitch fabric flips with all of you. So I will see you in the next clip. Okay, so I'm doing laundry in the background, so hopefully you can't hear the washing machine. But it has been about a week or so, maybe even closer to 2, since the last clip I filmed working on these different slow stitch fabric flips. So I'm trying to remember exactly where well, not exactly, but ballpark where I left off. But I did work on some. I was down for about 4 or 5 days, so I was able to do a little bit of stitching while I was laying down, so I wasn't, you know, like relaxing in the lazy boy. And I wasn't really able to talk due to the pain, so I don't have footage of some of the different ones I'm going to share with you that I didn't show any footage of me working on those, but I know I have clips of me working on some of the other ones. So I have quite a little bundle in here, and I have 3 some really gorgeous purpley lavender lilac-y ones. They're already wrapped up, ready to go out into some Happy Mail, so I don't have them available, but I will throw up a picture as I'm talking about them so you can kind of get a look at those. And then I'm just going to kind of share with you all the ones that we've done together on camera and some of the ones that I did off camera, and then we can go ahead and end out this slow stitch fabric flip tutorial video. So let's see, I think these are all the ones that I did that have this same butterfly material. There might be another one floating around inside there, but in the bucket, but we'll take a peek. So here are the butterfly fabric flips, and they're different sizes and widths. And again, I don't think you need to have like just a specific size. I think these can be open from left to right, top even to bottom. If you want to, different sizes. You can add other elements in here if you want to. Let me zoom in just a little bit. I feel like, I don't know if I'm crooked or if my camera's a little crooked on here. There we go. That looks pretty good. Now this is just some Waverly fabric that I picked up from Walmart. There is some vintage lace added to little bits and snippets here, and then just some different stamping, adding a little flower right there. One that's not too thick so it doesn't make the journal too bulky. You could even put something on and pop the bead off if you didn't want that there, and just added some different, like I said, did some stamping on the fabric, and then I have one of the word strips from Tim Holtz. So this is one of the 4 altered vintage junk journal books covers that I'm working on right now. So I don't have like a really good sample to show you how these would look on a page, but I'm just going to go ahead and pull this out. If you like this cover, this is going to be a gorgeous one. It's going to be coming up in the next month or so. Anyway, so here are just an assemblage of one of the signatures. I don't even think I have these sewn together yet. No, because I was using this for one of my quick tips with Abby videos, which I'll link below on using medical tape. So I'll link that video below as well in case you're interested in that one. So we'll just use this as an example, and we'll just pretend that this is a completed journal book insert signature. So for example, you know, you could have it where the fabric flip is on this side and it flips this way. That's kind of how I designed this one. You certainly can put it over here and adhere this strip down and then have it open on this side if you want to. It just kind of depends on what you like. You can also do it where it flips up. If you want, you could even do it where it flips down if you like it that way. So that's kind of the basic idea for all of the fabric flips, except for some small, well, you could even do the smaller ones if you wanted to, but that's kind of the general idea. But for me, I designed this one to go on this side. That's just me if I was going to use it. But again, like I said, you can use this in whichever format you want to. So you have that one. You can have one that's thinner, like bookmark size if you want, and then have it flip over like this, flip up. I'm not trying to be redundant, but I'm going to show you all the different ways with just this first set, and then I won't repeat it unless I have a smaller one or something. And then the same thing here. This one could go in the center of the page. Okay, if you like that. And then this is another side flip. You can have it on this side and flip it this way if you wanted. Once you have it down, you could flip it over to the side if you want, or you could make this a flip, however you want to do it. So just a close-up of the butterfly, just some real basics, simple stitching, seed stitching, and then kind of some running stitches. And then then we have just a little element of folding down the fabrics in the corner, and then down here again. And then this one just has a basic running stitch and then some seed stitching there at the top. Or no, not on this one, sorry. Which one did I do seed stitching on? Was it either of these? Any of these? I have seed stitching. I guess I thought I did on these. Anyway, doesn't matter. You'll see it here in a moment. But here is this set right here of the butterfly set. And I'm mentioning sets because I am going to be listing these, putting these up for sale, but not in this video. I'm going to have that separate because I want to keep the tutorial separate from the for sale video in case anybody is just interested in the actual tutorial alone. Oh, here's, oh, that's a different butterfly fabric. Okay, so let me pull this one off to the side. And some of these, you'll see in the video how I'm going to put some of the sets together because I don't have like an even amount of number of each different fabric prints on some. So you'll kind of see how that goes. I'll do them kind of like a little bundle. Anyway, so here's some upholstery fabric. And just to show you that you don't have to use just like, you know, traditional fabric. You can use upholstery remnants and that kind of thing for your different fabric flips. And again, I won't go through all the different versions because I'm just going to be redundant, but look how gorgeous that looks on the page. And this one, what I did is I just separated it and cut out the lace bit to have that detail. I think that's really pretty, so I like that. On here, some of the smaller seed stitching there on the top. And then we have this one here where it's just a little bit torn on the, at an angle on the bottom, just kind of a visual interest look there for that one. And I used a fairly flat wood button on there, and then just some layers of different laces and some cheesecloth. And then here's a smaller one, kind of the same idea. Okay, so there's that set. And then I'll show these again, like I said in the other video. This is just for the purpose of the tutorial. So I wanted to also show how to do some on some delicate lace and some more sheer fabric. I believe I was going to come back on camera and create one of these with you. I think I might have. I don't remember. I'm so sorry. It's like I said, it's been a few weeks. So let's do this one here first. So this is just some sheer material that I had, some scrap material, and I just used some sari silk at the top, a couple different layers to give it a really soft kind of billowy kind of a look. You can just see my fans going. You can see how nice that kind of flutters so delicately in the breeze. So you could have a really gorgeous print underneath here, flip this up, and you could have like a digital image. You could do stamping, you could do just journaling, whatever it is you want to do, because you're going to be able to see it peeking through. I think that's really pretty. And this one here is a really soft and kind of feminine one. Now this isn't, this has some layers, but it does smash down. So let's, for example, let's put it on this really pretty pink polka dot paper. Now granted, you're going to have other elements in here, but if you have this inside, I mean, look how gorgeous that looks inside that journal. Isn't that just beautiful? And then when it's closed, you're going to have a little bit of bulk, but as you continue to build and you have your cover, you can kind of cinch that down. So you do want to be mindful with the different layerings with the fabrics and laces and different embellishments like the wood buttons and things like that. So just kind of be mindful of that, but that is just so beautiful. And guys, it's so pretty. There's that one, and then here's another really soft, delicate, just a piece of lace that I cut down. That's all I did, and it already has all that gorgeous work done. On the purple one where I showed you the picture, I went through and I added some purple embroidery floss into the different flower centers, but I didn't do it on this one. But you can see just some seed stitching, some different textures in there. Just really, really pretty. So, you know, just very delicately flip this up like that. So, just gorgeous. And then last but not least for this, the lacy. So what I did on this one is I just tore, this is actually some vintage curtain, and I tore it so it was kind of raggedy and kind of distressed like that, because that's the kind of shabby look that I like. So that's what I did there. And then you can see there's just a little cluster of some small seed stitching there. And then I just have some running stitches on there. So just really beautiful ways to layer different scraps of fabrics from different projects and stuff, just to kind of add a nice, soft, delicate touch. So there we have some more of the more delicate types of fabric flips. And I know I have more with that one. So let me grab these. I didn't do a set number of each material. I just kind of did what I wanted, you know, what I felt was what I want, how many I wanted to do. So then we have this set right here, this really pretty Waverly fabric again from Walmart, and just a fun way to use some of your different fabrics to create texture. Just use some basic stitching, kind of fold it up a little bit, and you get that really nice kind of layered look, and the stitches add a really nice detail. So I thought that was really pretty. And then here, and this one this has some of Marta's dad string, as she calls it, and that I got from her shop. Just again, more layering, different little scraps. And then this one, I did adhere these two together, but you can, it does flip a little bit, but you can have it where it opens up all the way if you want like a double flip or even a triple fabric flip. So this one here is a double fabric flip. I'll hold it so you can kind of see, just real simple. Just some small seed stitching, just cut out a little square of the coordinating fabric, layered it on there with some lace. I mean, these are real super simple, but they look like you took a lot of time to make them. I mean, some of the more detailed stitching, yeah, it did take time, like, you know, doing the seed stitching and stuff takes a little more time, but you can make it look like, you know, it's just really, it really is super detailed, but it's, I feel it's easy too. So as far as like a double fabric flip, what I mean is, I have on the top here, and I just put a piece of some coffee dyed paper and on just one of Timmy's papers or word strips. Now this is the Salvage edge on this, and I purposely used it. So all I did was just run my my cotton through my embroidery floss, sorry, through the Salvage edge holes that was naturally there, and I just thought that'd be a great way to accent that strip, and I just have it like that. So you have a flip here, and then you have a flip underneath there, so it's just a double fabric flip. And then we have for this fabric stack. Okay, we'll go to some more. Okay, I know I could have sworn, I'm not sure, I'll have to look, but I thought I did more than just one of this one. But this one is really super pretty too. I love this fabric. This is also from Walmart. And then just did some tearing and some layering. And the top, this is just some jute, real thin jute, and I just stitched it down with some more of that floss. I just did some more stitching. Just really, really pretty. So again, just flip it up like that. And then for some smaller ones that I have here, these are from some, these are more from Vintage Fabric, not the print, that's from Joann's, but there are some vintage laces and trims on here. So again, just a great way to use up some of your fabric scraps, just making some fabric flips, and just super, super pretty. And then, you know, flip it up, and I love that detail right there, all that just extra stitching, just that real over stitching. I think it's so beautiful. I am just obsessed with slow stitching and hand stitching. I just love it so much. Oop, that one's upside down. So there's another one. Again, same idea. I'm just trying to show you all the detail. Plus I think it's really pretty when you flip it up and look at it, and you can see all that stitching on the back side too. So I think that's really fun. And then here's like a smaller one that you could just have like on the side. Let's open this one up. Let's go back to that pink. Or even like on a smaller strip, like this piece of ledger paper that's not as wide. That'd be so pretty just to have it like right there. And then you could have a flip this way or flip to the side if you wanted to. I mean, that's so pretty. So pretty. Some of these are probably going to be used in the journals I'm working on. So if you're interested in purchasing any of the slow stitch fabric flips, let me know. If I'm going to make some custom ones for you, let me know, because I can certainly do that too. I think that's really pretty. And then we have another one here. This one's got 3 layers of fabric with some lace detail. Flip up like that. Show you that one up close. Just really soft and just real delicate. Just so, so pretty. I love these. They have just been so much fun to work on and to put together. So now I have some smaller ones, and these would be great to use. I don't have one out right now to show you, but let's see if I got an appropriate page. Let's use this. We'll just pretend that this is like a smaller journal, and like even like using index card journal or something like that. You could definitely, let me zoom in. These are just a tad smaller. Bloop. So you can even have little mini fabric flips. Like I said, I don't think there's no rules in crafting and creating anyway, but you can make them any size you want. And I think it's just really sweet to just have like a really nice little accent right there. Flip it up and you can have like a little Instax photo or a little image that you've cut out, or even some little quote or something. So I think that just looks so gorgeous against that vintage coffee dyed book page. Same thing here. Which way was the top for me on this one? Oh, this way. So there's that one. Again, same idea. I mean, just all that stitching on the back, I think is just so pretty. And then here, just some little squares of fabric, same deal. Some cheesecloth, did some cross stitching X's on there, a little bit of seed stitching, stamping on some fabric. It's just real super simple. Just a fantastic way to use up your small little bits of fabrics and just layering different textures and textiles together. So, you know, this could go whichever direction you want to, over off to the side perhaps, you know, and you have it that way. So very pretty. Then here's a little tiny, sweet, cute one. So again, this could be like on a smaller book page like that. I think that's absolutely beautiful. You could even put it onto a smaller strip of paper that you have as one of your small little flaps. I think that's just beautiful to have it this way. I'd show it to you, but the journal is already sold. But I had that in my last junk journal that I uploaded a video on, where I had it on a small one like this on a little fly piece like that. So it just turned out really, really pretty. And then also I wanted to show you that you can also incorporate these onto different pieces of ephemera. It doesn't have to be just 100% fabric. This is still a fabric flip because it's got fabric on it, and you know, you're gonna flip it up. So you have that look where it's just a coffee dye layaway tag, and this is an index card that's coffee dyed as well. And I just layered on some different textiles, laces, and some fabric. And this is some ribbon that already had this print. It's from Mayart's Ribbon. And I think that is just a really beautiful little collage-y kind of a fabric flip right there. So let me zoom out a little bit, sorry. So you can see the whole page a little better. There we go. It's just so pretty. I love that. So there's that one. We're getting close to the end. And then this is just another one. Again, just some heavy stitching to where it's got that ruffled kind of a look. I love that texture that it creates. So I love that kind of tufted kind of a look on there. So this one, you know, again, you could put it on the side, have it like this, up in the corner, even down here on the bottom if you wanted to, just kind of wherever you feel it would look good and what you like. And then here's more of a simple one. This is also another piece of upholstery fabric, using some different fabric and some cheesecloth and just some basic stitching. So, you know, you have that you could put in there too. So you can have kind of all different types of shapes and sizes. And then I think, oh, here's another one. So this is kind of like a combo of my collage bits and my collage strips that I made, but you could also make this into a slow stitch fabric flip too, or even a slow stitch fabric tuck spot if you wanted. So, I mean, you could have it on the side like that. I mean, look how pretty that looks against that polka dot paper in the background. And then you could have it where, you know, it's stuck down on the side. You could flip it up and you could have a little something there if you want. You could make it where it's like a tuck spot, or even just like a little pocket. If you have like a little bit larger of a journal page, you could do it that way. You can make it into my collage bits / collage strips if you want to, across a larger journal page, or even on the side like that. So just very universal ways that you can use fabrics in your different crafting projects. And kind of having a lot of creative play and creative freedom to create. How many times can I say create in one sentence? Sorry. How you can use these to, again, create some beautiful elements for your different journals. These are great to make and send out in happy mail, friend mail, for giveaways, because who doesn't love receiving handmade art and creative pieces, you know, by our crafty friends and people that we are inspired by for different projects and different tutorials and things. So there are just lots of different options that you can use in different types of materials and fabrics. I just want to encourage you to incorporate not just the fabric and the actual threads and stitching, but you can incorporate papers and tags and different, you know, lace pieces and applique pieces and ribbons and different texts, and all kinds of fun elements that you can have, and just some very soft, delicate, lacy bits. You know, it doesn't have to be a solid piece of fabric. I mean, like I showed you, this is absolutely gorgeous with it like this. So if you have any questions about anything pertaining how I did some of the, created some of these different slow stitch fabric flips or anything, please leave it in the comment section below. I will get back to you as soon as I possibly can. And like I said, if you're interested in purchasing some of the fabric flips that I've shared in this video, some are going to be used in projects like I mentioned, but so I will have a separate video coming probably early next week. I have some different fabric flip, slow stitch fabric flip sets I'm going to have, and I'll just have one video and I'll just bundle them like, you know, ABC, something like that. So I will see you all next time. So again, happy scrapping, happy planning, happy crafting, and happy slow stitching. And I hope you enjoyed the slow stitch fabric flip tutorial. I'll see you next time. Bye.